Hello YouTube, this is Karacakes bringing you another PGA Tour 2K23 video. I'm back here with another CC walkthrough for the next week of TGC Tours on the Challenge Circuit. So, this week we have a port from PGA 2K21, Akashi Shore by b101. But it isn't just a pure port. b101 has updated the course to make the greens more conducive to PGA Tour 2K23 since everything rolls off a lot. This is on the easier side of courses. But the greens had some tricky spots in the last game that I was thinking when I saw that this was the course that, oh, this is going to be tough. But then the scheduler for CC alerted me that b101 updated the greens, redid some of the tees as well, so that we have manipulated tees. So some holes are going to be shorter some rounds and going to be longer in other rounds, and there's going to be different angles as well. So this is going to be a fun little test for all of you CC players. There's water. There are trees. Trees not that much in the way, but I remember there being one or two. The greens, at least in the 2K21 version, had some tricky spots. There were some tricky pins, but overall, it should be a relatively easier time here. There's a lot of scoring opportunities. The fairways are pretty wide, so if you get into trouble, it's because you made an aggressive decision or you really messed up. So let's get into it. Let's see what this course entails. And by manipulated tees, I'm going to show you right now. Look at those tee distances. Blue tees, 69.52. Green tees, 70.45. Black tees, 69.95. So they're all relatively equal in distance. If you even look at this, a lot of the tees are basically similar in distance. For instance, on hole 3, you'll see that there is a shorter par 4 where the blue tees were shorter on the first 2 holes but then longest on the 3rd hole, whereas the green and the black tees are the same distance and are shorter. You have the next hole, a par 4, in which the black tees, which are the second longest, have the longest par 3. So this is what I mean by manipulated tees. They are set up in a way using tricks in the designer because the designer wants you to have blue tees being the whatever's the front tees being the shortest, and the green tees being the medium, and the black tees being the longest. They want you to stick to that. But they have some tricks to get around that and make some very interesting, unique tee sets that challenge your approaches, give you different angles, different distances. They'll play differently in the wind. It's a lot of fun to see top-end designers use tricks like this to make unique and interesting courses. So that's what we're going to have today. A lot of variation. We're going to start on round 1. So let's look at the conditions. Default conditions are firm, medium, fast, and 7.2 indicates a little less than 155 green speed, so keep that in mind if you see a default round. We're going to start on the green tees, which are the longest tee, quote-unquote. We'll see what b101 gives us as recompense for having the longest. Pin 1, obviously, for round 1. Medium, northwest, firm, and fast for fairway green firmness, and then the green speed. So this will be on the tougher side of conditions, but only medium winds is nice. Default time of day and weather. And so here we go. I can't wait. I'm in a bit of a rut with this game. Little bird's out, but I really enjoy making these CC guides every week. So even if I lower my output on this game and play a little less, I still really enjoy making these guides for you all because it's fun to talk about my thought processes and help out players. So right away, we're looking at this wind. It looks like it'll be true. Obviously, wind is randomized at the beginning of the society when it starts up the new tournament. So it might be west, it might be more north. or it might be northwest in a slightly different direction. So wind obviously isn't our biggest determining factor, but at least I'll help you. And this is what I mean by tougher greens. So in the last game, if he had kept this green, this rolls off to the right a lot. A lot. Very often it would roll off to the right, even in the last game. So he has died him down. You can tell that there's a lot of slope running away from the green, or running away from the pin, but it should be holdable if you play it in the right spots. So let's get to it. Let's do it. Good first drive. Took a couple practice swings and updated my settings to make sure I'm playing more closely to CC settings, but obviously I do like to keep the aim marker on so we can check elevation in our practice round. So 6 miles per hour, not too much in the face. It's gonna play probably about 4 or something. And we're going uphill. So this is probably landing in this area, somewhere around here. Even with the downhill lie a little bit too, holding it up. We tend to push our balls a lot, and we want to definitely be on the left side here of the pin because it rolls off. You also have a slope here that you can use if you fast it and you have like a slight fast. If you aim sort of here, your fast might end up like here and could roll down and be in an okay position. Even behind the hole, you'll have a chance at it. So we're gonna aim over here with the foot lie and our push and see if we can do it. My tempo is very good right now. Good, good, good. Ooh, it died. So I put a touch of loft I shouldn't have. I knew it was going to be borderline, but I went for it. But I don't mind. So as you can see, it's uphill at the start and then downhill. So pick your poison. Like, how do you want to approach this? You can be aggressive with your line and go for it. But obviously, if you miss the hole, this is going to roll for a while. So do be careful. You're on 155 greens if you're going to go for the aggressive play. I don't think I hit that hard enough. Oh well. Just missed under. And you need to be close on some of these greens because they're going to be tricky. There's going to be a lot of break, as you can see, on most of these greens. So although the approach isn't severe, it's still going to be a challenge. And as you can see here, you can't just willy-nilly shoot this. If you slow this, you're going to be in the bunker. If you fast it, you're going to be in this bunker. So you got to be right on tempo here. If you slight slow or fast it, you might be okay though. But you cannot have a severe fast or slow, or else you're in trouble on this hole, and it's a par 5. You really want to make sure you're in the fairway. So you look, tons of camber. Tons of camber. So it's gonna go to the right pretty aggressively at the start, and then maybe it'll start to come back. And in this situation, I'm looking at it, I'm seeing that the wind's slightly in my face. It's uphill as well. I want to make sure this ends up short of the hole. I'm gonna loft this, pop it up into the wind, hope it dies a little bit. The wind is bringing it over, luckily. But I think we're still, might be off the green to the right. As you can see, that lie was severe. It really took it to the right. The wind isn't enough. I'm used to playing on high wind, so... I'm used to playing on higher wind, so... That's kind of why that happened. As you can see here, this one is the opposite. We're going downhill into uphill, so you can be more aggressive with your putts on these. I like to be more aggressive, but it depends on how you hit power. So just since you're hitting into break, you're going to be going uphill slightly. As you can see with the A marker, we can tell that this is actually going to turn into kind of an uphill putt. Which is why I added distance. Let's see if it breaks. No, I just overread it. And that's okay. I missed a 5-footer yesterday playing with some friends. Let's try not to do that again. Alright, so we get a drivable par 3. As is, you probably just can't reach it, just barely can't reach it, just with the straight up. So you gotta make the decision whether you're gonna add distance or you're gonna overpower. You're gonna get close though, so like hitting a 101 and then having a chip is pretty nice, because as you can see, it wants to funnel towards the hole. All the slope goes towards the hole. So you have a good chance of making it to the green if you just get it far enough. So I added some spin to give it the extra distance and see where it ends up. Bounce straight, unfortunately. And this is where you end up. So you might want to put some shape on it, like some, you might want to put a draw on it to get it to feed a little more right and not make the same mistake I did. Because up here is pretty hell. You have a downhill lie and downhill slope. So we're going to put max spin on this. We're going to play it very short. We're going to find the power. We're going to see if we can get it to stop. Using the slope, it's a beautiful chip. It's a beautiful chip. And luckily there is a lot of slope counteracting the downhill that helps it stop there. Ooh, our first tricky par 3. So as you can see from the tee locations, if we zoom up, you can see there's a tee box to our front and to the left. Right up here. This is what I was talking about. You get different angles on these greens from different tee boxes, and you can see the other pin set is just behind us, so it's going to be very similar to this shot that we have here on this pin set. But on those other tees that looks like the black tees, you'll have a much different angle of approach. And maybe the pin will be here and lets you use the backstop. Maybe it'll be back here and gives you slightly more room to work with, but a lot of slope still. So there's a lot of fun stuff with these manipulated tees, and we're a little in between clubs here. So we want it to land somewhere in this area. Playing over here is very safe. If you want to play aggressively like I do, you can aim sort of here and it'll bounce up, roll to the right, and you'll be like right next to the pin. But playing out here and playing for your safety shot, where a slight fast will get you here, but a perfect is going to be somewhere over here, is perfectly good and safe. And probably what I'm going to end up doing here. Because then if I slow it, at least I have slope to bring me over a little bit. Maybe I won't get the distance, so I'll probably be over here. But at least that's a makeable putt from there. So choose what you want to do. There is the aggressive approach, and then if you fast it, you'll have a chip from over here, which will be awkward, right? But at least it'll be up the hill. And then a slow will be somewhere in this area, which is pretty good. So what do you want to do? You know, I'm going to play it sort of, I'm aiming for about here, right? That looks like to be a good spot there. 181, 181, 79, 73, 72. I probably want like 169, 168 or something. That felt fast. And you're about to see that fast is not terrible if you aim in the right spot. We have a downhill putt, unfortunately, but it's in a pretty safe spot. Whereas if I aim to play for the pin right here, if I aimed right here, wanted it to land here, this would have been off the green. And so when you're making these decisions on these par 3s with slopes that help you, play for the slope a little bit. And that way a slight fast is not going to kill you, and a slight slow isn't going to kill you. It's not going to break a ton, but there is break. But it's all at the end. Slight misread. I haven't been putting well recently. It's always been a weakness in my game, and I go up and down with it sometimes. Sometimes I get in a hot streak, but, you know, is what it is. So, cambered slopes. You don't have to worry too much. Just avoid the water on the left if you have wind at your back. Just keep that in mind. A little too fast than I wanted, but as long as you're not playing on very firm fairways, you should be able to hold it very easily. And then we have a downhill lie into the wind. I think this will be the number. Slope at our feet and wind want to counteract each other, so I think we might even lose a yard. With this amount of slope, slight wind, I think this should be a good place to aim. A little slow. Yeah, that would have been perfect. I'm very happy with that read. As you can see, sometimes even I'm off. I know a lot of you see me shooting crazy scores often, but when I'm not warmed up and I'm just flinging it, sometimes we make mistakes. As you can see, there are not a lot of easy putts on this course. All of them have had a lot of break on them. So for a CC course, the landing zones are easy, but getting it into a place where you have a very easy putt is difficult. Alright, so in some rounds, I know this is going to be drivable. You can even see the pins right in front of us to right here. You can see them, obviously. Let me change my club so that you can see it. Right here. You can see that the pins are right here. So in some rounds, this green will be more drivable, especially if you have wind at your back. In this round, you don't have the option to get it. So do you want to be as close as possible, or do you want to lay up to a better number for you? Oh, that's a bad slow. I'll be lucky if this stays in the fairway. Yeah. So as you can see, we're just a little off today. I'll loft it up. Not that much, I think. We have a ton of this lie that we have to account for. Let's see if we can get it back there. There we go, got it perfect. Felt a little fast, and it was on the fast side, so it was right. But there's a lot of slope you can play for there to play it safe. So even this putt is not easy. Even that putt isn't easy. There are not a lot of gimmies on this course. Downhill, into the wind. I think this will cancel out each other. A lot of slope on the left. You really don't want to be short. So if you're a little long, you're a little long. It's okay to be a little long. Long is safe. Let's see what we got. Oh, this looks very nice. It's gonna be short, like I wanted it, but not too short. Right? Oh, it just broke. I was afraid it was gonna straighten up and I got a ghost break or something, but it broke true. Alright, par 5. And this is one of the two trees I was talking about. There's a tree in the middle of the fairway that can get in the way of your shot. So, do be careful. There are white stakes out there. Yep, this is out of bounds. Be careful. There's a lot of out of bounds on this course. You can very clearly see the out of bounds stakes from the tee box, so as long as you're not blind, you should be good. I'm sorry if you are blind and playing this game and I just offended you. But in which case my my statement is even more true. You have to be blind to not see that. Alright, so this is a tricky approach. Uphill. You have a backstop. You're going to need to use it if you want to go at this directly. Laying up here is not the worst thing in the world, because if you end up short, you're going to be in this bunker, and it's very difficult to get up and down. Or there's out of bounds over here. As you can see, the stakes are pretty close, so any fast, you're in the out of bounds. So, what do you want to do? This is risky. This is tough. As you can see, I have a terrible fairway lie percentage, which might help me out a little bit because I don't need to shape as much if that's the case. We're going to see if we... No. See, this is the problem with this shot. You can't really fade it or draw it. You can't draw it in because of this tree is in the way. So if you're going to go for it, you're going to need to de-loft or partial or something like that. So if you don't want to do that, perfectly understandable. And I slowed it so badly because I did not want to fast it. So I ended up doing an enforced layup. I'm okay with that. That's a very tough pin location. The out of bounds makes it extremely difficult. Don't feel bad. If you need to play safe there, don't feel bad. Par 4, with the wind at your back, you can clear the bunker, but be careful if you don't. Because this is actually uphill, and it's hard to tell that it's uphill from here. All you know is that the pin is uphill, so you can kind of look from here and you can tell that there's at least some elevation here. That's all you can do. Ugh. Where did my tempo go? I'll take a practice swing before the next shot. Alright, but we have kind of a straightforward shot here, but it is not simple, right? Fade to your, or not fade, but go to your left, bias your shot more to the left than to the right, obviously, because of this slope. You're gonna be forced to chip it from here because of how red uphill it is, whereas over here, like, if you fast it, like, you're still gonna be in an okay spot. You might be like here in an awkward, like, bender, but at least you'll have a bender. There's plenty of space back here to play for as well, but this right side is death. So if you're a right-handed golfer like me, slow is bad, really bad here. Play for your slow if you're scared of it. I'm aiming to land right around here. This is my safety, that way if I slow it, there's still a chance I'm right here and still fine. I forgot to practice swing, but that's fine. The fast, like I said, puts you in at least a safe spot. I don't like it, but sometimes you gotta swallow your pride. This is golf. This isn't an easy sport. Sometimes you're gonna have to play it safer, quote unquote, and put it in spots that at least you have a chance. God, my tempo is all over the place right now. Definitely not my flat player self right now, but I'm fighting against the golf blues a little bit, so just trying to fight through it all, right? And that's the best we can do. So here, you know, being short is perfectly fine. If you're just on the green somewhere in front of the hole, you're pretty happy. If you're on the right or the left on this level, you're okay. Just don't be short. Don't be to the left, right? Definitely don't be all the way over here, because this is not a fun putt to go up. At least it doesn't break that much, but it's still not that fun. So downhill, elevation and downhill at our feet, it's going to help bring this ball towards the hole too. So we can safely play a shorter shot, and it will get up there. I am perfectly fine with that. That's a beautiful shot. Like I said, I wasn't going to go pin hunting here. I would have had to have lofted my 6-iron to make that work. Because as you can see, my 7-iron traveled like 188 or something. That's a lot of distance for my 7-iron that has a base club of 178. So, made the right decision for my clubs. Oh, it didn't break left at all. Okay, we're okay. It didn't break right at all. But luckily it didn't break left at all either. Alright. So you have the same thing. He gives you lots of helper slopes on these par 3s. Either they're helpers or they're death zones, because if the pin's up here, obviously, this is death, right? So on one round, it's going to help you. On another round, it's going to be your demise, right? The pin's up here and I slow it, there's a chance it just gets to like here and then trickles off and you're like, aww. But in this situation, it's very helpful. So don't play too far to the right. This way, if I fasted that, that would have hit the slope and been in a nice spot. But this is even better. We aimed it perfectly on the right side of the hole, which is where we want to be. I'm going to hit it very firm there. I don't want it to break at all. Aggressive shot sometimes is necessary. So our tempo, not the best right now, yet here we are. We're -9 through 11. We're happy. There are some tough pins, some tough putts we didn't make, and yet we're scoring still. So keep that focus in mind. Downhill elevation, and at our feet. This is going to cut out some of that wind. We have a 97 to 98% lie, so I don't think this is going to quite get to the pin, even with those downhill, because of the wind in our face. So, just going to play slightly right. 2 funnelers, but really, this is really bad if you hit this slope, because it's going to come back down. Alright, so make sure you at least miss this slope. This slope feeds towards the hole, at least. This one only feeds towards the hole if you land it, like, right here. Alright, that's going to be tough, so shade to the left again, a little easier than shading to the right. Oh, but the slow, and you're about to see what's going to happen. Well, we're not even going to get there because the slow plus the wind sucks, but as you can see, this becomes an exponentially tougher shot if you hit that slow. It would have been off the green if I didn't aim far enough over. I know this is going to break a lot on this slope. Look at that turn. It's one of those, the higher you aim it, the more it breaks, unfortunately. So we're kind of screwed there. It was always going to be really tough, but I'm pretty satisfied with that. All right, long par 3. And again, slopes, 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 slopes. Use the slopes, slopes. You have slope back here you can play for. This is the safe play. You can play it somewhere in this area. Short and in this area, it'll feed to the left. But do be careful. Like, playing on fairway is always risky. You gotta see what the bumps are on... oh, excuse me, on the fairway. As you can see, there's spots where it kicks to the right a little bit. Like if you landed here. That would be beautiful. Land it there, pops up, bam, right into the hole. I'm going to play it short here. .205. So I'm thinking... if the pin's playing .205... yeah, so we're thinking with the 193 club, it's landing somewhere in this area. I kind of like this spot. Because of the firm fairways, I want to make sure we give it some loft. Hopefully we don't land too short here because of that, but... Ah! The bass are out to get me today. Alright, we can chip it up at least. We got a good lie out of it. This will run up. It'll be nice. Gotta look at the slope, see where it's breaking. Just slowed it. Oh, we got it up and down. I always slow chips, the longer chips. Shorter chips is very easy to fast, obviously, but... Alright, so, your first real scary water event is here. There's a couple water holes, so be careful. Be careful, she says, as she then goes into the water. Oh, that's a shame. But, as you can see, that's all it takes. My tempo's a little off, so... If you're scared of your tempo, definitely play more on the right or play it slow. Don't do what I just did, because you don't get a drop from there. Off did it too much. Unfortunate. Doesn't break a ton. There is break. Ah, just dove underneath a little bit. And that's what can happen. You can ruin your round right there. There's a couple water holes. Like I said, here's another one. This one is the high risk, high reward, right? We can pretty easily get there. So it's a matter of, do you want to? There's a tree over here that you have to be careful of. Are you willing to risk the tree? But high risk, high reward. You're on the green in 1. Do not like how this green looks, and in a case like this, it's okay to use the worm hand. Look to see where the places where it's actually breaking. Like here, it's not breaking as much. It doesn't look like it. Here, this is where it starts to break again. This is breaking, but maybe not as much as the grid is saying, as the beads are saying. And then here, you could tell that it gets a little scuffy-wuffy here, and we're just gonna aim and shoot and hope we got a decent line at this. Yep, stayed straight at the start, then broke, then came back. We made up that double. Beautiful. So it's to keep your head in it. That's gonna be a big point of advice. Keep your head in the game. Alright? Don't drop your head if you get in the water. There are eagle opportunities. You can make it up. No CC player is perfect. So even if you felt like you just lost your chance, trust me, there are plenty of eagle opportunities. You can get it back. God, the fast. Sends it flying. A lot of break. We're gonna YOLO this putt a little bit. I think I hit that a little too hard. Yeah, I did. You can tell because it traveled a lot more distance than I wanted it to. Usually I get it 3 to 4 feet past the hole. If I end up 6, that usually means I overhit it by 2%. Par 3. Slope goes to the right, but obviously you're using a pretty lofted club, a 9-iron, a pitching wedge, maybe even a gap wedge if you have really long clubs. So you can't use the slope too much, but if you land it pretty close, it'll at least trickle closer to the hole, and that's your goal here. Uphill. Play it on the left side. Hit it fast, because of course you do. Because you've hit fast every single time lately. And end up, at least you have a makeable putt from here. I think I overhit that again. Will it break enough? Oh, it broke a lot. It broke a lot. Almost made it. But as you can see, if you're having an off round, this course is tough. It's scoreable, but it can be tough. It can bare its teeth. I didn't bring my shooting boots today, unfortunately. But we're okay with that. A lot of slope. You're gonna have a longer club into this, so playing the slope somewhere into this area is going to be beautiful, right? If you hit it here, it's gonna kick to the left. It's gonna roll out a lot, and you will get it to this back part of the hole. So like, if you have a longer 3-iron, this is gonna be perfect club for you. You're gonna be so happy you have this club in your bag. We're going to play it on the right, especially with this slope at our feet. Going to bring it over to the left. The wind wants to bring it over to the left. So we're going to need to aim to the right a lot. Even with my push. We got it perfect. It's a miracle. I'm about 2 yards to the left, a little more than I wanted, but it turns out that it is just as good. Almost got an albatross. I think I've albied this hole before. It at least gives you a good shot at it. And we get an eagle to end it. To make up some of those poor holes. As you can see, 3 eagles, and we probably have like 5 opportunities at eagle on in these rounds. And in some rounds, you're even going to have the chance to go for that other par 4. But then that shorter par 4 might be longer, right? Because so you can go here, you can look at the distances, right? Where did we eagle that? That was the 15th, right? 326, 321 in the blue tees, 334 in the green tees. So most likely every round it will be drivable, but there might be wind in your face on some of the rounds. Whereas let's say that short par 4 that we couldn't quite drive in round in the earlier part of the round is 345 on the green tees that we were on, but it's 326 or 319 on some of the other tees. So it gives you another eagle opportunity where you lose out on an eagle opportunity because number 8, for instance, is a lot longer of a drive. It's a lot longer, 639 on hole number 8 for the blue tees, for instance. So you get a mix and match. Sometimes you have the easier par 5s. Sometimes you have the harder par 5s, but easier drivable par 4s. That's the fun of manipulated tees. Every round is going to feel unique and different. Anyways, that's going to do it for me. Despite playing kind of like below our average, you know, normally when I show you these courses, I'm shooting 15, 16 under. So our tempo was completely off. We couldn't land many putts, and we still scored minus 11. So that's something you have to take into mind when you're playing this course, is you might par a lot of par 4s. You might struggle on some of these holes. The par 3s are long and challenging, but there are scoring opportunities. There are easier holes. There are par 5s that are reachable. There are par 4s that are reachable. You're going to have eagle opportunities. You're going to have birdie opportunities that are a little easier than others. So keep at it. Stay strong. Stay focused, and you will do well. That'll do it for me, folks. Thank you for watching another week of CC walkthroughs with karacakes. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, of course. Please subscribe. It'll do me a load of good. But until next time, I will be seeing you. Catch me on Twitch. I will be streaming, well, by the time this video is uploaded, I will have already streamed for the day. Maybe I'll still be streaming over on twitch.tv/karacakes, but tonight I plan on playing some Gran Turismo after I play my platinum round, so you might see a different game. But we should be live tomorrow if I'm feeling okay. I didn't stream yesterday because I'm just in this malaise. Like I said at the start of today, I'm just a little burnt out on the game. These greens are tough. The greens in the game are tough, and when you get onto platinum with those conditions and those greens, they make this course look like the most basic course. And as you could see, it was tough to putt on this course. Never mind on platinum. So we'll do our best. Thank you all. Love you guys. Mean it as always. Appreciate you. See you soon.